Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And first and foremost, before we continue, I just need to ask the big question. Can you guys hear me? First of all, I just want to make sure that we can hear something, that everything is going into order. So, can you hear me? Okay? Yes. All right. Perfect. That is beautiful. All right, finally, we can actually start off on the right foot. And I don't know if I fully explained the situation last time. I may have, but I have figured out what was the problem with the last stream. Now, maybe those of you who have watched this on YouTube or are listening to this in your podcast service, you probably are not fully aware of what was the situation, or I may have brought it up a few times. But what happened during the last stream, what really messed it up was apparently a really bad software update. If you don't know, what I'm using in order to stream and to record these podcast episodes is through OBS. And before starting last week's episode, they asked me for an update, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll do an update to make sure everything is efficient, everything is good. But then suddenly, when I had that update, it messed up the system to where when I would stream and when I would record, there would be no audio that would come out, or at least no audio from the system or the buildup that I have already, which really does mess things up on my side of things. I had to go with some kind of like backup plan, which costed me 30 minutes before even starting the whole thing. There was like a full-on 30-minute delay of trying to figure out how to solve that major problem. And even at that, not everything was fixed up, because even the audio for the intro and the ending did not actually go in play. But I am glad to hear that now everything is actually working out. So now we can actually start this podcast more efficiently and much more comfortably. So now we know that things are running smoothly. And especially with this episode, oh man, do we have some great stories for you today. A lot of exciting things happened last week, and now we can fully get to them on this episode. So before I begin, I would like to ask the chat wall, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you ready for this now? All right, yep. That is great to see. People are prepared. People are set. That is amazing to hear. All right, so I think with all that said, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And the first story that I would like to go and talk about is regarding what happened last week. And a big thing that did happen last week, at least for me, was the fact that it was my birthday. And on my birthday, it really was a moment of happiness, a true moment of joy, because it really was a day of celebration. And on that day of celebration, it was actually a moment where everybody got together and they were just all celebrating and all just really happy that a dream finally came true. And yes, folks, what I'm talking about is the one and only Sora finally coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The dream has finally arrived. Sora from Kingdom Hearts is now an official playable character, a playable fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Masahiro Sakurai finally freaking did it. That people thought it was impossible, but now the moment has truly arrived that we have our final fighter, and it's none other than Sora. I know that I've kind of dragged on this intro a little bit, but just wanted to make it a little bit more spectacle with the soundtrack going on behind. But yes, folks, it is official. Sora from Kingdom Hearts last week on my birthday on October 5th has officially been revealed to be the final downloadable character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, some of you might be wondering, why is it out of all the characters in the video game world, they actually went with Sora? Well, Masahiro Sakurai actually did go into the details as to why specifically him, and that is because it was several years ago when Nintendo was actually doing a survey amongst everyone around the world where they want to know who do they want as the next Super Smash Bros. Fighter. And this was back for the previous version of Super Smash that was on 3DS and on the Wii U. And apparently the one who got the most votes was none other than Sora, which is exactly why they didn't necessarily reveal the results of all those people or all the characters that were rallied up in the roster and like who got the most votes or who got the most suggestions and stuff like that. That's why they didn't necessarily reveal it. And it really was a big occasion, especially with the final trailer that marked as the grand finale of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, since this is the final downloadable character. Afterwards, there will be no more. And it truly is a moment to celebrate. Even we got a quote here coming from the Nintendo of America's Senior Vice President of Sales, Marketing, and Communications, Nick Chavez, which I will read from my source here directly on Nintendo's website, as it states, having a fan-favorite character like Sora join the ranks of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the perfect way to close out the Fighter Pass expansion. With a dozen fighters added since the game's launch, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate now boasts 86 total fighters spanning the entire history of video games, giving players an unprecedented amount of gameplay, choices, and options. So that's pretty much the big thing. And throughout the presentation, the main thing was to go and highlight how Sora plays in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as well as showing like all the different moves that are more of a tribute to what he would do in the games and stuff like that. And a lot of the gameplay, well, I can't really show any clips right now. I don't have them ready, but long story short of that is that the moveset is actually quite interesting. It is very unique to the style of what Sora is, like what he represents like in the Kingdom Hearts games, and really translated into a fighting style onto Super Smash Bros. A lot of magic and projectiles that are used, but definitely a very floaty character. That's one thing that is very much highlighted. He is extremely light. Like when he jumps and goes down, it takes a while. And on top of that, like almost a flyer in a way. Like when you do some combos, it'll be hard for him to like get off of the stage or to keep him off of the stage. But anyways, going back into the aspects of Sora, when he will be unlocked and when you do get him in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he will come with a wide variety of different costumes that pay tribute and pay homage to the previous Kingdom Hearts games. Of course, you see several examples that you would find include the original Sora gear from the first Kingdom Hearts games, also his outfit in Kingdom Hearts 2, Dream Drop Distance, Kingdom Hearts 3, as well as a retro black and white cartoon version from the level Timeless River. But that is not the only thing that was announced throughout that whole thing. It's not just the fact that Sora is now a playable character in Smash. There have been several announcements that have been made as well. On top of the Sora announcement, there is also a bunch of Mii Fighter costumes, because every time a new playable character has been revealed, they would go and put out a whole bunch of new costumes that would be available. And they stated that for this time, there isn't a big amount, but only a certain selected few. Like from Splatoon, there is the Octoling wig and the Judd hat, as well as the Doomslayer full costume from Doom. So if you want to play as the main character of Doom, but you can't actually play as him per se, well, you can use a Mii fighter and just put on that costume. And at the same time, oh, actually, before I do forget, but there is also, on top of like unlocking Sora, you also get a brand new stage that is a tribute to Kingdom Hearts as well, which is Hollow Bastion, which is one of the final levels in the original Kingdom Hearts game. So you're on a platform and you fly around Hollow Bastion, and then at some point you would be immediately teleported to an area where you would see the signature glass window design. You probably are familiar with the Kingdom Hearts glass window design, where like everything is round and like you get the central character that's in front, whether it be like Sora, Riku, Kairi, Roxas, or whatever, and then like you get a bunch of little circles of other characters that have a close connection to that character in particular. And at the same time, while you're fighting, you will go and hear 9 different soundtracks, not at the same time, but a selection of 9 different soundtracks from Kingdom Hearts. And also, as an added bonus, if you do have the game Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, then at that point, you will be able to unlock a hidden song, which is Dearly Beloved Swing Edition. So that's kind of like a little added bonus if you want to, like, if you really are that big of a Kingdom Hearts fan and you also have that game, then you'll be able to unlock that for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. On the side, though, they have also revealed a bunch of amiibos that are going to be coming soon as well. They did reveal the release date of the next batch of amiibos that are going to be coming, which are based on the downloadable characters from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. They like apparently in the spring of 2022, they will include Min Min from ARMS, as well as Steve and Alex from Minecraft. So those are going to be appearing pretty soon. And then after that, they have revealed later on in 2022, there will be amiibos based on Sephiroth, Pyra and Mithra, and who else was it? Kazuya. So Sephiroth, of course, from Final Fantasy VII, Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Kazuya from Tekken. They're gonna get their amiibos, but much later in 2022. And finally, the other big announcement that has been revealed, other than the fact that Sora is going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is going to be the fact that the Kingdom Hearts games are also going to be coming to the Switch, but with a little bit of a catch, though. Yes, the other big announcement is the fact that not just the regular games, but like the really enhanced games, the ones that got like that were a part of like the major collections from like Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and stuff like that. So these include Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and Kingdom Hearts 3 plus Remind are all going to be coming to the Switch. The catch, though, is that they will only be available in the cloud. So they're only going to be cloud editions of those games, meaning that there will be no physical copies of those games that you could get on the Switch. It's only going to be through the internet that you will go and get it. And you can't download it either. It's not like something that you can play off, like you cannot offline play it. You have to have an internet access, so you got to buy Nintendo Online. And then from there, that's when you will go and actually download not download, but you can actually play those Kingdom Hearts games. There will be more details coming soon. That's going to be coming out in 2022. We don't know the full idea of what's going to be going on with that, but in a certain way, those Kingdom Hearts games are going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And that's the big thing that has been revealed, all of which on my birthday, and my God, what a way to start off my birthday with that. And it's kind of funny because the funny thing with all this is that I actually really do remember that this is not the first time that a major character was revealed for an upcoming Super Smash Bros. Game. I remember back, I think it was like either in 2007 or 2008 or something like that. I remember it was on my birthday when Nintendo actually revealed that Sonic the Hedgehog would be a part of Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the third game of the franchise. And I remember that was a big deal because that was back when people were always circulating the rumors of, oh, Sonic and Tails are in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and like there was that urban legend that was passing around. But now with Sonic, that made that official. So again, that was not the first time. It seems like October 5th is the big day when a major character would be included, or probably the biggest character you could think of has finally been included to Super Smash Bros. And it's almost like a big dream come true. And as you can probably guess, yeah, I am pretty excited for it. I'm even dressed up for the occasion. Like, I actually got the chain right here and even got the gloves for the occasion as I'm recording this for this entire show. And this was honestly something that I just decided to buy. Like, it wasn't specifically for this occasion. I just thought it would be cool to have. I was just looking around a Spirit Halloween store, and I just coincidentally found this. And I mean, I was like, cool, okay, I'll take it. So that's why I do have these. And I mean, especially with the announcement of Sora being a part of Smash, I figured, why the fridge not? It's like kind of like a big celebratory moment. And yeah, for me, I gotta say, with that announcement, yeah, I definitely am hyped up for it. I will admit I'm not a major Kingdom Hearts player. I have played the first Kingdom Hearts games, but I have yet to play some of the others. I did play the DS game, the one with Roxas, Xion, and Axel. You know, 358 out of 2 days, like that one. But I haven't played like a lot of the others. I played a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 2, but like, I am fully aware of it, though. I do have friends that are, like, major Kingdom Hearts fans, and that's why, like, I do have a bit of knowledge of Kingdom Hearts in the first place, is because it's secondhand from them. So I am a little bit familiar about it myself. And I remember, like, when I woke up on my birthday and I was watching the presentation live, oh my God, I will admit, that was such a beautiful trailer that they have crafted. Like, totally kudos to Nintendo for what they have made with that trailer, because the whole point of it is to emphasize that this is the last download, the last DLC character that's going to be included from Smash. Following afterwards, I don't think there's going to be any more updates that are going to be coming up. I'm not 100% sure if that means no more spirits that are going to be involved, and like you're going to get like new exclusive spirits coming in for a limited time or whatever. I don't think there are going to be a bunch of those that are going to happen anymore, but this is supposed to highlight the grand finale, and even the trailer is supposed to be this entire homage to the first trailer, to the first time that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was revealed, the one where we see the Inkling character, the Inkling kids just playing around, and then they see the big fire that is the Smash Bros. Logo. Like, it was supposed to be like a bit of a continuation on that, and to signify the grand finale of all this, and then revealing Sora. And oh my God, I think I freaked out myself when I saw the Mickey emblem, because that was the key moment, no pun intended, that really did signify that Sora is going to be in, is when you see that Mickey symbol. It's like, oh my God, it's like something you didn't expect to see in a Nintendo game, especially like after with their deal with Universal, making a movie with Illumination and all that kind of stuff. Suddenly you see that, like, you see something from Disney coming out. It's like, oh my God, it's freaking Sora. They freaking did it, and it's amazing. And then following afterwards, you see Sora coming out, flying above all the characters, playing the orchestra version of Simple and Clean. It's like, it truly, I think that it really is a magical moment. I think that's the best way to put it. It truly did feel like quite a magical moment to see Sora just flying around, meeting all the other Nintendo characters. It was just fantastic. And I mean, maybe Sora wasn't necessarily my number one choice, because I'll admit, who I really wanted the most was Crash Bandicoot. And I've said that several times in the past, that I was really hoping that Crash would be involved with Smash. But then again, thinking about it, maybe it is for the best, because the further you are distant from Activision, the better, especially with all the controversies and the backlash that they've been getting right now. Maybe it is for the best that you don't include a character from Activision be involved with something like Super Smash Bros. It's probably for the best. As much as I would love to see Crash in the game, yeah, no, maybe it's fine. Like, I'll settle with Banjo and Kazooie because they probably seem like the closest kind of characters that we would get to Crash. So yeah, like either way though, but I will say, like, with the inclusion of Sora, that's definitely a very pleasant surprise for me, and I'm definitely excited to go and play him, which is actually going to be very soon, next week from the time that I am recording this, actually. So yeah, I am definitely one of those people that is pleasantly surprised to see Sora finally appearing. But there is one aspect that I will say I am highly disappointed, and this is something that a lot of people actually did bring up, is the lack of Disney. That they actually took out any and all references to Disney. Make sure that whatever iconography of Disney would be in there, it would be completely taken out except for the Mickey emblem that's in that's attached to Sora's Keyblade. That's pretty much it. In fact, in the stage of Hollow Bastion, when it's the Sora stained glass window, the little circles where normally you would see Sora's friends, like you got Kairi, you got Riku, but you don't have Goofy and Donald. Strangely enough, they have been replaced by a boat and a starfruit. That's it. So it did seem a bit confusing, and I do have a little bit of a theory as to why. I could totally be wrong because, let's be honest, this subject right over here is extremely complicated, but I might have a bit of an idea, and that actually has to do with copyright. Because the thing is, with when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, the copyright of it is very perplexing. It's very much confusing because it is split between Disney and Square Enix. And there are some aspects in which Disney would get the rights to, including merchandising. And there are some aspects that Square Enix would have the rights to, including like the games and the characters and stuff like that. And I got a feeling when it comes to the original characters from Kingdom Hearts, you know, like Sora, Riku, Roxas, Aqua, and all those guys, those belong to, those ones specifically are a part of Square Enix. They belong to Square Enix, where, of course, the Disney elements, they belong to Disney. So I think, I think they had more of an easier time trying to get Sora into Smash, more so than the Disney elements. Like, probably Disney was a lot harder to cooperate in terms of having any form of Disney representation onto something like Super Smash Bros. Because Disney actually does have a legitimate history of being opposed to having a having their characters be involved in a fighting game. Like there have been some history before where there was a moment where they wanted to do a Kingdom Hearts style fighting game where you could play as either like Sora, Mickey, Hercules, and stuff like that in a typical fighting style fashion game, but Disney wouldn't allow it. Or there was another one where Disney wanted to do their own Super Smash Bros. Game, and they would have like a bunch of characters like the Beast or the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood or the Horn King and stuff like that. Like, they wanted to do their own Smash Bros. Game, but Disney ultimately just rejected that one. So Disney does have a history of not wanting to do a fighting game or not wanting to be involved with it, which truly is a shame because honestly, a Disney Smash Bros. Style fighting game, I think it would actually work out extremely well. Like, I think it would actually be a great idea, even if it's not with like the main characters like Mickey, Goofy, Donald, or even like Woody, Belle, or even with the Star Wars characters or the Marvel characters and stuff like that. They could actually do so with the villains. That would actually be a wonderful idea. Just have the villains come together and fight each other out. That would actually be pretty cool. But yeah, honestly, as much as I would love to see a fighting, like a Disney fighting game, it doesn't seem like it's going to be something that would happen anytime soon, especially like when Disney seems to be pretty confused when it comes to what they want to do with games. But anyways, I am getting a little bit sidetracked. And yes, like the whole idea of having Sora onto Smash, that for me personally, I know there are some people that are not as on board with it, but for me, I feel extremely happy with the decision. And you could tell, honestly, with what they have done with Sora, not just with the fighting moves, but with everything else, that they really paid close attention to make sure that they would really pay tribute to Kingdom Hearts and to the character of Sora, respectively. Especially when you would have all the different costumes that in which Sora would wear throughout the different games. Like, if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts 2, or if you have a very close bond with Dream Drop Distance, or you absolutely loved Kingdom Hearts 3, well, you got those options. Or even like the small details of like having Sora with having the Timeless River version of Sora. That would actually be a lot of fun. I could see a lot of like gameplay or a lot of photos where we see that classic cartoon Sora playing with the Mii fighters dressed up like Cuphead and stuff like that. Or like, a funny thing that I have seen lately is I've seen a lot of people trying to make memes of the fact that since Goofy and Donald are absent, well, the best you can do is actually duck hunt. Just get the Duck Hunt dog and the Duck Hunt duck, and well, since they do have a dog and a duck, that's Sora and Goofy for that's Donald and Goofy for you. They're technically there, but not really. But in all seriousness, though, this is actually a great addition for Smash, and I think this truly is a wonderful way to cap off Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like, really, if you want to save up the best character for last, I think Nintendo truly did nail that with a highly demanded character with Sora. And it really is great to see that, and it really does make me excited to go and play it. I know, me and my friends are actually planning a date to go and come together and just have a round of Smash where we just play with Sora. We just have a full round of fighting against each other as Sora, and then go from there. So we're definitely excited to go and do so. And if you guys are excited to go and play as Sora in Smash, then keep in mind that the release date is going to be next week, as I'm recording this, on October 18th, in which that will be released at the same time as the Mii fighter costumes, like with Doomslayer and the optional Splatoon hats. So that's going to be something that will happen, and my god, I'll count even though it's indirectly, I will count this as a birthday present from Nintendo. So thank you so much, Nintendo, for that. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you all think about Sora's addition to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Are you guys happy with that decision? Is there another character you wish that would be the last downloadable fighter of Smash Bros. Ultimate? Let me know what you all think on this. Okay, let's see what we got here now. We did it! I still can't believe this is real. Sora is someone I thought could only exist in fan games like Super Smash Flash 2. But Sakurai did the impossible yet again. Forget Pikachu and Inkling, Sora shall be everyone's new main. And while I would have to replace Steve with a Galar Pokemon, I commend Sakurai for the work he has done. Oh yeah, I think if there is a moment that we should thank a game creator for the massive work that they have done, I think there's no other person that deserves the credit more than Masahiro Sakurai. I mean, from all the crap that he has received from fans, from not getting a specific character or anything like that, and especially working on this one game for more than 3 years, probably this is not even to include the development that went behind it, still working on it for 3 more years, reaching up to this point. It's a very admirable feat. So honestly, yes, this is a moment where we should all say thank you, Sakurai, for what is possibly one of if not the best game that you could get so far on the Switch. Or actually, you know what? I'll just say one of, because Smash Bros. Ultimate is definitely up there with Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. Let's see, what else do we have here? I recently started playing the Kingdom Hearts games, and I've been having a lot of fun with them. And when I was watching the trailer and has that Mickey emblem appear, I was so close to screaming, "Wait, what? Yo, holy crap!" But I couldn't. I was in college at the time. I don't usually buy DLC fighters, except for Steve, but I'll gladly punch a hole in my wallet for Sora. But in the meantime, I should get back to the game and seeing the context behind Winnie the Pooh's soul leaving his body. Well, I mean, the funny thing is that in regards to that thing, like that whole meme of seeing Winnie the Pooh leaving his body and stuff like that, like the thing is, if you want the true context, just watch The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, because technically that's supposed to be a reference to when Pooh would like leave his body and enter into his dream where he would meet all the heffalumps and woozles and stuff like that. It's funny where like technically it's not just out of context of the game, it's like out of context of like where it came from. So it's like something that came out of context is now even more out of context. It's kind of strange where it would result to that. Let's see, what else do we have here now? Let's see. Yeah, at last, the final chapter in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter reveals is complete. Sure, it may not be Crash, but at least Sora is an appropriate choice to cap off 3 years. With a character from a Disney/Square Enix game, now the possibilities are endless with the next Smash game in the future. Also, Disney legend and Super centenarian Ruthie Thompson sadly passed away recently at the grand old age of 111. May she rest in peace. Yeah, very nice tribute right there. But yeah, it is true. Well, then again, I think like I don't think we'll be able to talk about the next Super Smash Bros. Game for a long time. I don't think that thing will be happening until like several years to come. I don't think like I don't think we're going to get it. Like, if there is going to be another Smash Bros. Game, we're not going to get it for the Switch. That's for sure. Like, either for the next console or for the console after that, especially with the fact that it's going to be extremely difficult to top what they have done with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like not only peaking what the franchise has done, but debatably has peaked what fighting games in general has done, and try to make a successor to that. It's going to be extremely difficult, because I think it is going to be a case similar to Pokemon Sword and Shield, where not all the characters are going to be coming back, especially when it comes to those that don't directly belong to Nintendo. So just a little bit of a warning on that. Let's see, what else do we have here? As someone who is a bit of a casual fan of Kingdom Hearts, this is a pretty great fighter choice for the last DLC for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I'm sure everyone is happy for this. I can see you are happy with this, AniMat, given your cosplay, or maybe you're cosplaying as Team Skull. Also, here's a weird thought. Since Sora is now in Smash, does this mean that Super Smash Bros. Is part of the Kingdom Hearts lore? And also, I'm guessing Nintendo had a legal nightmare getting Sora in Smash. That could be the case. We don't fully know the details as of yet. Maybe there is going to be a future interview with Masahiro Sakurai talking about that in detail. But I will say, like, when it comes to the whole lore aspect, that is something me and my friends, we did actually talk about, the possibility of the entire entire Nintendo world actually being a part of the Kingdom Hearts lore. I mean, like I'm sure by that point, the Kingdom Hearts fans, or the hardcore fans, they're having nightmares about that, considering that it's already, like, the whole Kingdom Hearts lore is already complicated and just a massive nightmare as it is, being the one massive criticism of the whole franchise is that it's way too complicated than it should be. But in this case here, the funny thing is that I remember once in the past where like a decade ago, back in like the late 2000s and early 2010s, people would make these like meme images of Mushroom Kingdom Hearts. Like, if you look it up, it's an old picture from several years ago where we see Sora with King Mickey and Mario, like, all with their own Keyblades, like, just imagining the scenario where Sora enters the world of Nintendo. And now it seems like that dream has come true, not directly in the Kingdom Hearts franchise, but in a sense where we do see Sora and Mario in an actual game. All right, let's see what else we got here. This was a great decision. While I'm not a huge Kingdom Hearts fan, Mostly because the storyline is complicated as F. This was definitely a great final chapter for Smash Ultimate. I'm sure the reason they saved Sora for last is because of the complications between Square Enix and Disney. Also, I'm sure... Oh, excuse me. I'm sure Crash Bandicoot and Waluigi are angry right now. Oh yeah, and that's another like meme that I've seen that a lot of people are just doing, and it's like kind of mean-spirited, but it's undeniably funny at the same time, where we just see Sora just having like selfies and see defeated images of characters that did not make it in Smash Bros. Ultimate, like Waluigi, Shadow, Rayman, or Crash and stuff like that. You know, it's one of those things that you have to shout that's mean, but you know you laugh at it. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. Aside from Crash, I was actually hoping for either Lara Croft, Heavy from Team Fortress 2, or Master Chief from Halo. I did predict Sora was going to appear in Smash when I drew a thumbnail from one of my animations showing a very cartoony version of Sora's hand before the reveal. It is unlikely that there will be a Smash 6 since Ultimate is usually the final thing, and Sakura is thinking about retirement. To end on a joke, I bet Mickey Mouse is saying we're hoping to buy Nintendo next, haha. Yeah, well, I mean... like just because like the main just because the creator will be retiring, that doesn't necessarily mean it will be the end of the franchise. You know, I'm sure like Nintendo would want to continue Smash Bros even long after Sakurai's retirement. So I mean, they're like in a way they are kind of continuing Kirby without Sakurai, considering that Kirby is a creation of Masahiro Sakurai. If they could continue Kirby, then chances are they could continue Smash Ultimate. Let's see what else we have here. When it comes to Kingdom Hearts, I once played the first game and Chain of Memories, but haven't played since due to finding the gameplay so difficult to deal with. Upon hearing this announcement, it sounded cool despite never playing Smash Bros. Don't know if I'll get into it, but it's nice to see Sora being included. Also, nice costume, although I was confused about you dressed up ghetto at first, before realizing you actually dressed up as Sora. You know, and the funny thing is that I'm not even fully dressed up as Sora. Like, I got the chain, I got the gloves, but the t-shirt that I'm wearing here, it's just a New York Mickey t-shirt. It's not necessarily a full-on Kingdom Hearts cosplay here. If I would do a cosplay, I would go all out. I would go back to the Spirit Halloween store and I would actually buy, like, you know, the whole shirt, the pants, and even like wear the wig. I would just go I would go all out on that. So, okay, I think I'm gonna read one more comment before we move on to the next, two more comments actually. Yeah, so 2 more comments and then we're going to move on to the next one. Let's see. We did it. I still can't believe this is real. Sora is someone I thought could only... Oh, no, I know. I actually read that. So, okay, one more. Never mind. Out of all the possible characters to choose, Sora feels like the perfect fit for Smash Bros. Not just because he's been the most requested character, but like how Smash Bros. Managed to get all these different characters together. Sora himself is from a series which is a crossover of Disney and Final Fantasy, which seems ridiculous or even impossible back then. I am simply overjoyed to see Sora arrive to Smash as the final character. This is one hell of a birthday present that you got, Matt. Oh yeah, like, you know, honestly, like for my birthday, like I wanted to treat it as a full-on holiday. Like, in fact, I took a day off for my birthday, and I just wanted to be a moment where everybody would be happy. And I mean, with something like this, like, it certainly did help out. So yeah, I think I could say that I had a wonderful birthday this year because like most people were having a wonderful time as well. All right, it is great to see that the podcast is still going strong. It's still going beautifully with no problems whatsoever. And it's now time that we're going to go and move on to our next story. And with the next story that I have over here, well, this is going to be another dream come true moment that has finally happened. But this time around, this is not going to be for gamers. This is going to be for animation fans, and especially for home media collectors such as myself, because now I actually have a movie that I've always wanted to actually physically own, but it seemed to be impossible, especially with the circumstances of that feature film. Like something that I would love to add in my collection over here, but it doesn't look like a scenario that would happen. But now it seems that the company decided that they will do it, but with a little bit of a catch. So what I'm going to be talking about is going to be Cartoon Saloon's Irish Folklore Trilogy. Yes, GKIDS and Shout Factory has officially announced a brand new Blu-ray box set that is called Cartoon Saloon's Irish Folklore Trilogy. The trilogy itself, well, you can pretty much imagine it's exactly how it describes. It is a collection of 3 animated features by Cartoon Saloon. While they are not necessarily a full-on trilogy, it's more like a spiritual trilogy because they are all connected through the theming of Irish folklore. So, on this Blu-ray set, they will include The Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers. Yes, they even mention over here that this is going to be the only way that you can actually go and get Wolfwalkers on a physical media. The only place and the only thing that you will get in order to have Wolfwalkers on Blu-ray. In fact, let me go and read a little bit on my passage over here, which will be coming from Animation Magazine, to give you the full details of what's going to be included on this Irish Folklore Trilogy, where it states here, the limited edition Irish Folklore Trilogy box set features the exclusive Blu-ray presentation of the Wolfwalkers, as well as animatics and bonus features for the 3 films never released before in North America. This deluxe set is presented in beautiful and environmentally friendly packaging that reflects each film's loving depiction of the nature world, and the art includes an original illustration by Cartoon Saloon. Also included is an illuminating 2,000-word essay by film critic Andy Krupp about the lauded animation studio Cartoon Saloon, the origins and creation of these incredible films, and their roles in the world of animation and the world at large. And to go a little bit into detail about the environmentally friendly packaging, it says here that Cartoon Saloon's Irish Folklore Trilogy packaging is made of at least 50% recycled or renewable materials that are safe and sustainable for both individuals and the environment. The soy-based inks are non-toxic and 100% biodegradable. But you might be wondering though, what about the content itself? Yeah, that's nice to have in terms of the packaging, but what about what is specifically in these Blu-rays? Well, the bonus features that they do have is actually a wide variety of it. Like we have a whole bunch that not even the Blu-rays that you would go and get like off the shelves, like the ones like individually for The Secret of Kells and for Song of the Sea. Like the stuff that they do include, they have audio commentary with the filmmakers, from some pencil to pictures, behind the scenes stuff, looking into how they made the animation, how they made the music, how they did the voice acting in some of them, and even like nice little tidbits like seeing Aisling at the Oscars, or like with Wolfwalkers, how do you draw some of the characters, and you also get like animation tests, or even look into the art of the Song of the Sea. But as well, a nice little bonus that they do include also is that not only do you get the 3 Blu-rays of those individual movies, but you also get a bonus Blu-ray. And on this bonus Blu-ray, you actually get each of the movies, but presented in their animatics with commentary from the director, as well as other little bonuses, such as a reading of Pangor Ban by Mick Lally. And all this, well, the only catch, though, is that it's not going to be coming out soon. You will have to wait a little bit, which is going to be coming out on December 14th. But you can actually go on either Shout Factory or GKIDS website, and you can actually go and pre-order it right now, which I think you do get a little bit of a discount because the price range that I saw that they're going to go, or like if you want to buy it, the price of it, I believe, is going to be $79.99. But if you pre-order it, that will go down to $69.99. So the big thing to go and highlight in this, like what really makes this such an incredible thing and what kind of makes it a dream come true for an animation fan and a home media collector like myself, is that this is actually going to be the home media version of Wolfwalkers. And for the longest time, like ever since it was released or it was revealed that it was going to be a part of Apple TV Plus, there was a part of me that wondered that, you know, honestly, maybe there might be a chance that like it might not come out, because usually when it comes to these deals with these streamers, like with Netflix or with Apple TV Plus or with Amazon Prime, when those movies would be exclusively there's a very strong chance that they will never come out on Blu-ray, because they would be handling because like those streamers would be handling the distribution, and they really don't care much about physical media. They only want to go and just focus on their streamers, and for the consumer market to go and buy their subscription. So the only way to go and watch it would be through there. And when it comes to Wolfwalkers, it seems like for a while the only way that you could go and legitimately watch it is to go and get a subscription to Apple TV Plus so that you would have an opportunity to go and see it. Or you could be really lucky like how I was, and the way that I did it last year, the way that I got my opportunity to actually see Wolfwalkers was actually a digital presentation at the Toronto International Film Festival. Because of COVID, they weren't able to actually have a full-on live festival. I think they did a little bit this year, but they kind of did a bit of a mix of digital and like an in-person festival going on. But last year, it was mostly digital, or it was all digital, and one of the movies that they were presenting was Wolfwalkers. I wanted to see it for myself. I did, and my God, it was such a masterpiece. Like, I absolutely adored it, and already, even though it was at 2020, I think already it was a very strong contender of being one of the best animated features of the 2020 decade. In fact, I probably told the story before, but when I was making the top 5 best and worst animated films of 2020, the hardest thing for me to do was to figure out who would be the #1 best animated feature of 2020. It was either Wolfwalkers or Pixar's Soul, and I literally spent days, like actually days, trying to contemplate, to think about who would be the right choice to put it in there. I even had to watch those movies like again, and then I had to go and like put different categories of like who did better in like the story, the animation, the characters, the music, and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, I decided, like, just by a mere margin, that Soul would be the right pick for #1, but that still doesn't change that I love both those films. I consider them both absolute masterpieces, and especially with Wolfwalkers, I never thought, you know, because it was exclusive to Apple TV Plus, I never thought it would actually have a Blu-ray release, because usually, like in normal circumstances, GKIDS would definitely not hesitate to give these movies a home media release, especially with the films of Cartoon Saloon. Like, so far with all their movies, like they got them out on Blu-ray no problem, like with Secret of Kells, Song of Sea, The Breadwinner. But with Wolfwalkers, it's a bit of a different story where they never really managed to get it. And I guess with this one, they managed to find a bit of a loophole in a way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the mere existence of this whole set is in order to have Wolfwalkers on Blu-ray. Like, this is the big loophole. It's like they can't specifically go and release Wolfwalkers on DVD and Blu-ray, but they can do so if it is legitimately a part of a trilogy. So at least they managed to exploit that loophole, and that is how we managed to find a way to actually have Wolfwalkers on Blu-ray. Even if it is not necessarily a Wolfwalkers Blu-ray, like, this is the closest that we can legitimately get. In fact, they even mentioned that this is the only way that they will do so. They did unfortunately confirm with this that there will never be a Wolfwalkers Blu-ray that you could get on its own. And already, like, just seeing the list of content that they have, like, not just like the bonus like little stuff that they have from like the little the essay. They got like a 40-page book going on, like extra artwork and stuff, but even like the bonus features, it seems like it's just jam packed, and they made sure like with each of them that they will really be worthwhile, not just with the movies themselves but with the bonus content that they have also. So I really do tip my hat and say kudos to GKIDS and Shout Factory, really going that extra mile, like especially for someone like me. Like a major reason why I am a major fan and a major collector of home media and physical media like Blu-rays and DVDs, like a big part of it is because of the bonus content, and they really went all out with it, even to the point where they also include a bonus disc. Now, the one thing I will say is like a slight criticism is the fact that they're only available on Blu-rays, and we don't actually have DVDs of them. I know some people could argue that technically nowadays DVDs might be considered obsolete, but they are still a cheap alternative, and they still have a use even nowadays in order to go and play some media, like especially for like families who are like a little bit below working class. If they want to entertain their kids, like Blu-rays would be a little too expensive nowadays, but a cheaper alternative would be to have the DVDs. I mean, yeah, sure, you'll sacrifice the visual and audio quality and stuff like that, but it's like for some people they don't mind, and that often doesn't necessarily matter if they're not like tech geeks and stuff like that. So that's one thing I will say that it kind of takes back from the fact that it feels like a fully complete set, and that is the lack of a DVD. But other than that, though, this is a beautiful set right there, and I actually did something that I would rarely do. This is something that normally I wouldn't actually go that far. Usually I would wait until the release to go and actually do it, but this is one of those rare cases that my impulses got the best of me, and what I did is that from the moment I heard of it, I went and immediately pre-ordered it. Like, I don't know if this was something that this would be a thing that would immediately sell out quickly, or that the pre-orders would just disappear in like a few minutes after the announcement. But I knew for me that, considering I am such a huge fan of Wolfwalkers, I love the movies of Cartoon Saloon. So far, every film that they put out is just wonderful, magnificent. And like even the other movies, I really love Secret of Kells. I really do like Song of the Sea, and especially with Wolfwalkers, like maybe I would have to debate on this. Like, it's probably the best one of the whole set. So honestly, like, this is just something I know I have to get. Like, this is my one chance, my one opportunity to actually go and get Wolfwalkers on Blu-ray, and that's when I knew I had to get it. Yeah, it came in a little bit pricey, and especially with the currency conversion, I did pay more. I did pay more than $100 in order to get the pre-order of this, but for me, I feel like it is absolutely worth it. But I know there might be some people that could be wondering with this, and the big question is this actually something that you would get despite the fact that you may already own some of them? Because I'm sure for animation fans, and especially for the people who are the target audience of the Irish Folklore trilogy, there are some people who already do own some of the Blu-rays of these films, like The Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. If you already own those, would it still be worth it to get the Irish Folklore trilogy? And for me, I have to say, yes, it is absolutely worth it. Not only because you would go and get Wolfwalkers, but also because of the different bonuses that they do offer. And like I said, because of the fact that they don't have DVDs, it is still worthwhile to keep your Song of the Sea Blu-ray and your Secret of Kells Blu-ray as well, because they do also come with those DVDs. So they are definitely worth keeping. And the the Irish Folklore Trilogy, it will come with a whole bunch of different stuff. So I definitely do believe it is absolutely worth it. I mean, the fact that it has Wolfwalkers alone is definitely a reason to go and actually buy it. But still, though, if you are a fan of these movies, if you do like the Irish Folklore Trilogy that Cartoon Saloon brought out, like with Wolfwalkers, Secret of Kells, and Song of the Sea, yes, it is absolutely worth it. The only reason why I would say maybe it would not be worth buying it is if you already own The Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea and you have a subscription to Apple TV Plus. Maybe by that point, you don't necessarily need it because you already have access to all the different movies. You're able to go and watch Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers without the need of the Irish Folklore Trilogy set. But even at that, you would still be missing out with all the other bonus content that the set would go and offer. But that would be the only reason that I could think of why you wouldn't necessarily need it. Other than that, though, for animation fans, for film fans, I think this is going to be a set that is a must-have. And especially the fact that it is going to be coming out on December 14th. Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of Christmas lists that they will include this one, especially for animation fans, and especially for you. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't pre-order now, then chances are you'll have that on your Christmas list. Again, this whole set is going to be available on December 14th, and it will come at a price of $79.99 US, but I think with all that, it will absolutely be worth it. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you think of the Cartoon Saloon Irish Folklore Trilogy? Is this something that you guys are going to buy? How do you feel about the inclusion of Wolfwalkers and having this be the only way you can get Wolfwalkers on Blu-ray or even outside of Apple TV Plus? Let me know what you all think about all this. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm incredibly grateful to Shout Factory for this release. I absolutely love the works of Cartoon Saloon and the fact that we are getting not just Wolfwalkers, but also Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. It definitely is a dream come true. All I can say is shut up and take my money. Yeah, I know they already got mine, so now for me, I just have to wait until it's delivered to me. And considering that, well, it might be international shipping, I might get mine a little bit late. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be around January of 2022 when I'm going to get my Blu-ray set. Let's see now. I reckon that this Blu-ray set would be nice to have in my library despite its salty price. But that wouldn't top my prized DVD and Blu-ray set of Sherlock Hound, the last series done by Miyazaki himself. 200-page art book, 5 laminated cards, 4 DVDs, and 2 Blu-rays. A pure gem of the 80s brought back to light. Speaking of physical content, do you have any vinyl albums? Actually, technically, yes. I do have one, but I am not a vinyl collector whatsoever. Honestly, when it comes to music and stuff like that, I'm a lot more digital. I technically do have I do have my collection of CDs, but vinyl, I think, it's too expensive. Honestly, I'm not a vinyl collector. The only vinyl that I do have is this vinyl of, old songs, and it came in my box set of BioShock 2. I remember several years ago, back when BioShock 2 was released, me and my sister, we were huge fans of the first BioShock, that we were all hyped up for BioShock 2 to come out, and we actually bought the big special edition box set, and it did come with a whole bunch of little knickknacks and stuff like that, and one of them was a Blu-ray, not a Blu-ray, was a vinyl, and it turned out to be a massive disappointment. I mean, BioShock Infinite was another great masterpiece that picked the franchise back up to be as good as the first BioShock, but yeah, BioShock 2 was not that good, honestly. But yeah, I think that's the only vinyl that I personally own, and that's not even a purchase that I directly made. Let's see. This was awesome to finally see Wolfwalkers come out, but only with the Folklore Trilogy. This and the Columbia Classic 4K Volume 2 are my anticipated films to buy some physical home media movies this year, so I hope I get them before they are sold out. I'm planning on buying it from the GKIDS store website as it costs $65 to pay it. I never owned any Cartoon Saloon movies before and have yet to see Secret of Kells, and the only Cartoon Saloon movie I have yet to, but definitely gotta go and get it real soon. Oh yeah, like especially if you have not seen any of them, or if you have not owned any of the Cartoon Saloon movies like Secret of Kells or Song of the Sea, that's even more of a reason why you should actually have the Irish Folklore Trilogy. Absolutely. Let's see now. Yeah, okay. I'll go with this one. I still have to watch Song of the Sea, the Song of the Sea movie, but I am now aware of these because when I saw Kells, Wolfwalkers, and even Breadwinner, that these are the best of Irish animation. And what I could say is that Tom Moore is one prominent animator from Ireland, along with other national and international award winners like Nick Park in British animation, Enrique Gatto in Spanish animation, Sylvain Chomet in French animation, and Stefan Fejmark in Danish animation. I had a bit of difficulties trying to read that last one here. It's like the Fejmark? I don't know. Then again, since when am I someone who is known for pronouncing names correctly? Okay, what else do we have here? What would be another one to read? Okay, so now that my sister and I finally saw Wolfwalkers on Apple TV Plus, my God, it is glorious. However, I feel hesitant to buy it, but disappointed that it would be the only way to get a physical copy of Wolfwalkers. I'm not sure how long my dad will keep Apple TV Plus, but I will continue to watch it and hope to watch it with my family. Yeah, in that case, like, do the most that you can in order to, like, indulge on seeing Wolfwalkers. Watch it as much as possible, because so far the only ways that you can watch it, or technically that you can legally watch it, is either by watching it on Apple TV Plus or by owning a physical copy with the Irish Folklore Trilogy. And I think with this one, I will say, I think this is going to be the reason why I don't need Apple TV Plus, is because I get to have this. All right, what else do we have here? I'll read two more comments before I move on to the next story. I haven't seen any of these movies, but I will say I'm happy for you, Matt. However, I may check this out just for the animation, since it does look beautiful to look at. I don't know if I'm going to get this set, though, since I haven't seen any of the Cartoon Saloon movies. Oh, you should. If you're an animation fan, you gotta see at least one of these movies. I'd say start, honestly, go in chronological order, actually. If I would recommend, like, which one to go first, like, start off with The Secret of Kells, then go with Song of the Sea, then go with Wolfwalkers. I think it'll be best to go from there, and then you can judge yourself to see if this is something worth owning. But if you are saying that you don't want to get it because the price is a little bit too steep for you, then honestly, by that point, I completely understand, and I don't blame you there. So, yeah, the price is going to be another major factor as to why you don't want to get it, or might determine if you want to get it or not. So yeah, if $80 is too, or $80 is too much to own three different movies, honestly, I understand where you're going with. I'll read one more comment. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Okay, I'll go with this one then. I don't have any of those films, so all I could say is gimme, gimme, gimme. I have only seen one movie from Cartoon Saloon, and that is The Breadwinner, because I love that film so badly. I want to see the other so badly, including Wolfwalkers, and this Blu-ray surely helps a lot. My only problem is that I only have a DVD player and a region-locked PS4, and most of my favorite DVD shops are closed down due to COVID hitting them financially. Oh yeah, I can imagine DVD and Blu-ray stores, like those that are specifically tailored to that. Yeah, they are screwed over. Not just like if streamers like Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, if they didn't get screwed over by them, then the pandemic really was their final nail in the coffin. Okay, so now let's move on to our next story, and we actually have a trailer to check out. And this was actually a last minute addition because today, this was actually something that I have noticed it got trending on social media that people were freaking out to see, like, oh my god, this is going to be a thing, I want to see it. And I decided, you know what? Because of the big factor that it is going to be in 2D and allegedly it's going to be coming out on the big screen, I was wondering what this entire fuss is all about. So, with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming animated feature, Koati.
This October, Sofia Vergara is Zaina.
Zaina is here. We can start now.
They had the perfect home.
Something big is coming.
All lady frogs like magic, you know? Only trick I know is how to make them disappear.
Until one day,
Stick together! Be calm!
everything changed.
Everyone, we need to get out now!
The time has finally come to move south, but leave the weak and the old behind.
You're evil!
Evil, attractive, and in charge!
Whoa, someone's got issues.
This October,
I have to save everyone, and I don't know how.
Find the tree of life.
That'll be a long and dangerous journey.
Wait for me!
And we're coming with you.
Let's do this.
There's no need for maps if you are guided.
join an all-star cast.
There's no need for wings when your dreams are will let you fly alone. This journey begins.
On an epic adventure
Last alive.
down south.
Let's not mention this to anyone.
Take my rightful place as a cruel, vindictive, all-powerful leader.
I like it. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Koati.
Seriously? It's a sign of good luck.
So yeah, that is Koati, and apparently this will be a 2D animated feature that is coming to theaters on October 15th, which is, as I'm recording this Friday, interestingly enough. Now, the funny thing about this one, the reason why I decided I wanted to go and talk about this is because I saw on social media, on Twitter specifically, that people were talking about this trailer in particular, or talking about this movie, Koati, that people were freaking out over the fact that there's going to be an animated feature coming soon that is fully hand-drawn, that's fully 2D, and it's coming out on the big screen. They were like, 2D, it's 2D, it's coming on a big screen. Oh my god, we need to see it. I need to get a ticket. I need to support 2D coming out on the big screen. I need to watch this. I need to buy 10 tickets. We must go and support hand drawn so it'll be back on the big screen. You know, you would see those people just freaking out. Like they see that it's a 2D animated film, it's on the big screen, and they're all like, holy crap, I need to get this. So I know that this is something that would go and immediately freak people out because of the 2D animation. And one thing that I will say when it comes to this 2D animation here, I will say that it's fine. I wouldn't say it's great 2D, but it does look good in its own right. There are some parts here that, you know, I see this and it's like, okay, it looks nice. Like you could see some nice stylized visuals. Like you have some nice scenery, some really great backgrounds, like depicting the jungle, and even some, like some cool supernatural elements that's going on here. So, but the character animation in regards to that one, that I feel like it's a little bit iffy. It's not great per se. Like, I would say the quality of this animation, I would say it's the same as the direct-to-DVD Disney sequels, but in their later half. Not at the start, like not like during the 90s and the early 2000s. Those ones, like that animation was just god awful. I mean, like later on in like going from the 2000s onward, that's when they would get a little bit better. You know, stuff like with Lilo and Stitch 2 or Cinderella 3 or Ariel's Beginnings and stuff like that. Like, yeah, say what you will about those movies, but those animations, like, they're not as good as Walt Disney Animation Studios, but they are still good in their own right. And that's what we are seeing here. It's not great animation, and there are some times where you do see where it feels like the animators are just taking some shortcuts, but it is fine. And, it is visually okay, and there are some moments where you could tell where they want to be a bit stylized, and there are moments where it feels like they just want to be like the same cutesy style kids flick in terms of the designs. But honestly, overall, it's like it's not great, but it's not bad either. It's fine. That's the way that I would put it. Everything else, though, whoo boy, everything else. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. At least in the way that they're presenting in this trailer, it does not look great. And that's probably my biggest problem, is that so far what they're selling me here is it's not good. I'm not a big fan with what's going on with the story because it seems a little too predictable. Like, it feels like a mixture of like the journey. It's a mixture of like the journey way, like journey to the next like area mixed with mixed with fighting against evil and stuff like that. It reminds me a lot of Dinosaur, the 2000s movie Dinosaur. It reminds me so much of that film mixed with a little bit of like going like those movies that go from point A to point B, like Vivo, for example. Like I know there are like tons of them, but I'm just thinking like it's like a mix of Dinosaur and Vivo in a way. So already, like, you could tell from this trailer, where the plot is going. That the plot is pretty obvious. And even with the characters as well, they're not so great. And there are a few that, honestly, I feel like they're getting on my nerves. Like the frog character in this, admittedly, there have been times in this trailer, he's just pretty annoying, and like that seems to be his role. It's like the comic relief who's a little that's a little too full of himself, and he thinks that he's something that he's not. Like he thinks he's like a chick magnet, but he's more of a chick repellent and stuff like that. And especially like one thing I will say that for some reason, like the funny thing is that this trailer really does highlight the villain. And it seems like the biggest selling point, literally more than anything, is the fact that they got Sofia Vergara as the villain, which is this snake character whom, like, yeah, she's kind of like Scar from The Lion King, where like she's a bit egotistical, like, yeah, I'm sexy and I know it, and I'm sexy and I'm evil and I know it, like that whole attitude. Like it really feel like not just her, but like a lot of the characters here, they feel very flat. Like the way that they are presenting here is just flat characters, and really just selling on the point that it seems like the biggest star that they got is Sofia Vergara, despite the fact that technically they do say it's an all-star cast, but like maybe it's just me, but I think I only recognize like half of the people that they got here, including Sofia Vergara. Everyone else, well, like, I'm honestly a bit lost. But then again, I will say that I do understand that technically this is supposed to be a Latin American animated feature. This is made like in the south of the US border. I think it's either made like in Mexico or somewhere in South America. Last I double checked. I could be wrong on that, but I am aware this is technically a Latin American animated feature and bringing in a bunch of Latin American actors to go and perform. But and and I will say this, even though I find Sofia Vergara to be a very attractive woman, a beautiful woman, in fact, like having her among the cast of an animated feature, that is not going to be enough for me to go and watch this. Like, I'm not going to jump off my seat and say like, oh my God, Sofia Vergara is in this movie, I need to go see this. Yeah, it's like, nah, not really. No thank you. It's gonna take a lot more than that. Not to mention also, they even mentioned they got like an all-star like musical soundtrack as well, which they say that apparently it will be featuring original songs that includes Mark Anthony, which he's also an executive producer on this, but also like Carlos Rivera, Gustavo Lima, Mau and Ricky, Joy, Leslie Grace, Becky G, and Evaluna Montana. So yeah, honestly, it's like a lot of these names, like even for me, honestly, like they don't really sell me that much. And that's one thing that I do feel is a little bit soulless about this trailer, is that they do feel very dependent on the names to sell the movie more so than the other aspects, because it feels like the movie itself is even aware that it doesn't really have that much to offer in terms of quality to go and market to its audience. And also, if there is one thing I would say is the worst thing about all this, it has to be the humor. Like, this is honestly weak comedy. Like, whenever it tries to be funny, whether it be regarding the characters or with whatever scenario they would have to face, a lot of them, honestly, I don't feel like they land. And especially the fact, like, I think the one thing that kind of turns me off from this trailer is actually the ending. Like, after we get all the credits, after they say that this is Koati and stuff like that, that they have to end this off on a frickin' poop joke.
Seriously?
Yeah, like, apparently that has to be the big kicker. Like, you want the ultimate punchline, and you have to end this off with the frog getting pooped on. That's apparently peak comedy for this movie, and if this is the peak comedy in this, I'm a little bit scared to know what would be the rest, because, yeah, already it feels like there are so many aspects of this movie that they really are setting a low bar to. So overall, when it comes to this, like, honestly, there really is not much that it's selling me. Like, yeah, it's promising the fact that they're going to bring a 2D animated feature to the big screen, but that doesn't mean that they're going to bring in a good 2D animated feature. I would much rather have a good computer animated film than a bad 2D animated feature. I don't care if it means to go and, but still buy a ticket and go see it to go and support 2D. No, honestly, yeah, as much as I would love to see 2D come back on the big screen, I don't want to see this come back. If this means to, like, more movies like this, if we're going to end up having more hand-drawn movies that are going to be like this, then honestly, hell no, I'm not gonna go and support stuff like this. I ain't, like, you won't see me buying a ticket for something like Koati or whatever, especially with something like this where, let's be honest, I'm sure for some of you who are watching or listening to this is probably the first time that you're even hearing about Koati, and yet it's going to be coming very soon. Like it says in the trailer on October 15th, and some people even say will be on October 22nd. If you're only releasing your trailers now, then I got a feeling that means that it's going to be a very, very limited release, like probably 200 theaters in total, and that's it. I'm not expecting like a big wide release being distributed by a major studio or anything like that. The best you can do is just something like this, and yeah, honestly, if this is the best you can do with this trailer in order to market your movie, and pretty much the biggest thing that you want to highlight is the fact that Sofia Vergara is in this, yeah, honestly, I'm not buying. Honestly, I'm not interested in this. I mean, maybe you would be interested in seeing this. Like, if you have a screening that might actually show Koati, keep in mind it will be coming out on October 15th, or some people say October 22nd. But for me, yeah, I'm not sold on this one. I'm not going to lie. All right, so with that said and done, I would like to go to the chat wall and I would like to ask you all, what do you think about Koati? Are you guys actually impressed by the 2D animation here? Would you guys want to go see Koati, or would you rather give this a pass? Let me know what you all think on this. Let's see. 2D animation fans must be really desperate if they are freaking out about this. The animation is just fine, the story is very generic, the characters are quite flat, and the designs are nothing special. I'll just skip this one out without even giving it a glance. There is a cute axolot for a split second though. Yeah, I mean, that's the sad thing. If you guys are freaking out about the fact that, oh, there's a 2D if you guys get freaked out of the idea of a 2D animated feature that it's going to be released on the big screen and it's something like this, then it really goes to show that you guys are just desperate for a style. And that's honestly my biggest problem with the whole discourse about bringing 2D back on the big screen or bring 2D back to the mainstream, because at the end of the day, like 2D animation and hand-drawn, it's nothing more but a style. And style should never overpower substance. Like, the thing is, as I said before, I would much rather have a really good 3D animated feature that is purely CG, nothing 2D about it, than having something like this where it's all 2D but everything else just sucks and it just feels like a waste of time. And that's why and this might be a very hot take and I might piss some people off from the animation community, but often it's stuff like this why I feel like the whole campaign of bringing 2D hand-drawn animation back to the big screen or to the mainstream, I feel like it's mostly a waste of time. Like, I don't want people to focus on just the style and really emphasize the style, because yeah, style can be important to the storytelling, but it's not the storytelling. Like, I want more good scripts to appear in animated features more so than having a stylized look. Style means nothing if you don't have a good story and likable characters, to help carry the adventure through. If you don't have a good script, then it doesn't matter what style you have. You can have Spider-Verse levels of innovative animation or beautiful 2D animation that is on the same level as Disney's Sleeping Beauty. If you don't have a good script with it, then it's a waste of time. You can have bad animation with a really good movie, but you cannot have a good movie if you don't have a good script. So I just want to lay that out. I probably did not phrase that well, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. But anyways, let's see here. Man, how do I put this? While I admire the animation looks solid, I'll definitely say that this definitely screams kids movie. This is evident through some of the jokes and even the voice performances, but I could be wrong. So if I see it playing at my local theater, I'll maybe check this out. I've kind of run short of my comments, so here's an unrelated mini review of The Addams Family 2. Yeah, it sucked, but I guess I can't stay mad at Wallace Shawn. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just on a quick side note there, I do understand the whole idea with like, hey, at least we got Wallace Shawn back on a movie and it's still Wallace Shawn being himself. But then again, that's just the novelty of the voice actor. And I mean, it still doesn't change how The Addams Family 2, along with the 2019 Addams Family movie, I would even go as far and say that they are the most generic animated features in recent years, or some of the most generic animated features ever. Like, if you would point to an animated movie that is the complete stereotype of the mainstream animated film, doing the stereotypical things that they would do, like with an all-celebrity cast, pointless dance numbers with old songs and stuff like that, and like stupid jokes aimed for kids, awkward animation, like it has to be The Addams Family, and now with the addition of The Addams Family 2. Anyways, let's go back to Koati. Let's see. The design feels cartoon saloons. The design feels cartoon saloon. Don't hurt me. I don't really have any interest in it. But of course, I'm not surprised the cartoon community, specifically the 2D elitists, would freak out about it. However, this doesn't really seem worth freaking out about. They just care about 2D being on the big screen and mainstream. Who cares about the characters or story? 2D, we must triumph over computers! Honestly, I think theaters are so desperate that they'll show 2D indie movies. Yeah. Again, going back to what I was talking about with the whole 2D rant, honestly, this is my problem with it. It's all style. And these people, and like the people who are demanding for 2D to come back, like these are the kind of people that seem to only care about the style of the movie and not the actual substance on it. Like they will be they will give high praise to a movie just based on the animation, despite the fact that it has a script that's not worth really like pursuing or not worth really being invested in it. Again, like really advocating for 2D really is advocating for style over substance, and I don't want to waste my time with that kind of garbage. Let's see what else we have here. Do we have any other comments? Just want to see. Nah, it's a hard pass for me. Even if it might have some environmental message in it, I'll skip that joke of a 2D movie. And for the snake characters, my favorite are Ka from The Jungle Book, those two from Dragon's Lair, and I already hear keys rustling behind me, Boa Hancock from One Piece. Technically, she has a massive pet snake, but she's my favorite gal of One Piece. Oh yeah, I mean, like in the past, like we've had a bunch of amazing snake characters, especially, I mean, like Ka is like he's like the OG of cartoon snake characters. I would even add in a bit of Sir Hiss as well from Robin Hood. Like I would count him as well, because like that's another one where you could tell that the animators had a lot of fun to play with that kind of character. So I would add him too. And I will say, like I will admit, like I understand that when it comes to One Piece, that they have characters that their anatomy, it's pretty much a joke, and it's down to the point where their anatomy is so much of a joke that it's often a meme. But Boa Hancock though, I gotta say, even with the snake, she's like stupidly hot. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I will simp for freaking Boa Hancock. Got a problem with that? Okay, I think I'll read one more comment before we jump on to the next one. I don't know if we have a lot of comments over here. I'll read two, actually. Screw it. I only know two celebrities involved, Mark Anthony and Becky G. The frog reminds me of Jean Bob from Swan Princess. While I do admire the fact that the 2D animation is on the big screen again, I feel like the animation is a little bit stilted. I mean, take a look at My Little Pony the movie. Say what you will about it, but you can tell it tries its best to be fluid and lively. When it comes to South American animals, it says something when the 2D, when a film about 3D let me rephrase that. When it comes to South American animals, it's saying something when a film about a 3D kinkajou might be better than a 2D Koati. Yeah, that is definitely true. I would much rather take freaking Vivo over this one, judging by the trailer alone. I mean, I could be wrong, and this movie could have some amazing surprises, and it could turn out to be much better than what the trailer is leading on. But for now, I feel like I would much rather stick to Vivo. And also, like on a quick side note from the previous comment, I don't blame you if you say that there is a little bit of elements that do feel familiar based on Cartoon Saloon. It does have a bit of that stylized look, especially like I would say with the Panther character has a bit of that stylized touch. So there is some elements where you could tell it's not fully based on it, but it has a little taste of inspiration where they took some elements of Cartoon Saloon to have that stylized look implemented. So I don't blame you on that for the comment. All right, so let's read one more. I feel bored with this trailer. Nothing about this trailer looks interesting or anything like that, especially since this movie is going to be released now within just a few days. It reminds me how Disney decided to pull a last-minute trailer of 20th Century's Empty Man with a few days before its release. Sorry, but I'm going to give this a pass. Yeah, you know, another trailer that, you know what it reminds me of? Like, speaking of that one, like, it reminds me of another thing that Disney pulled off where, like, they put out a trailer at the last minute because they do not care about it whatsoever. Strange Magic. I mean, technically, it should have been a big deal because it's a computer animated feature from the mind of George Lucas, animated by Lucasfilm and stuff like that. But that movie was an absolute disaster. It was a total mess. And even looking into the history and the making of it a little bit, it's quite fascinating because, fun fact, George Lucas actually thought up of Strange Magic because he wanted to make a Star Wars for girls. Like, he wanted to make something that would be appealing for girls, since Star Wars is mostly appealing for boys. Am I right, guys? Yeah, it's messed up. It's absolutely stupid. And it's stuff like this that kind of makes me think, you know, maybe it's best for Disney to hold on to Star Wars more so than George Lucas. I'm just saying. Kind of a hot take, I know, and there will be some people that will be pissed off about it. But you gotta admit, like, if you hand it over to George Lucas, that doesn't mean Star Wars would be any better than how it would be right now. So just a fair warning on that. All right, so moving on up to the next story, we're going to go into another realm of a dream come true. Okay, well, maybe there won't be as much people that will say that this is a dream come true. This is more like a relief that finally this thing has finally happened. After 18 long years of staying in there, finally, Universal is about to actually do something about it. And what I'm going to be talking about is the end of Shrek 4D. Yes, it is official, folks. Shrek 4D is finally going to come to a close in the beginning of 2022. Now, this is not based out of an official statement that did come out of Universal Orlando. They didn't actually go up in front of the press and say that they're going to finish off Shrek 4D. This is actually based on some memos that have been passed around from the employees who work at Universal Orlando to go and say that Shrek 4D is officially going to be ending on January 10th, 2022. At the same time, they've also revealed in that same note that the Revenge of the Mummy is not going to be closing down, but they will be temporary closed for maintenance, where it says here, reading from my source on Attractions Magazine, where apparently the note says that Shrek 4D and its corresponding gift shop will permanently close at Universal Studios Florida on January 10th, 2022. Also, the Revenge of the Mummy coaster at Universal Studios Florida will be closed for maintenance beginning January 7th through late summer of 2022. So that ride is going to be getting a very well-needed update. However, that's all the information that we truly know about regarding Shrek 4D. There has been no confirmation as to what is going to be replacing it or what Universal is going to do with that space. And for now, I will say that technically, even though there is no more Shrek 4D in America, that doesn't mean Shrek 4D is gone for good. Because technically, if you still want to go and have that experience to see it, there are two places that you could actually go. I believe the one in Japan, in Universal Studios Japan, that is still open in there. And also Universal Studios Singapore, considering that they have an entire land that is completely dedicated to Shrek. So those are the two places that are available. But for now, we have been seeing from time to time Shrek 4D just coming and going. Like, we know there are some places, even outside of Universal, like in Germany and in Australia, they had Shrek 4D, but now now that is gone. And even in Universal Studios Hollywood, they had Shrek 4D for a while, but then in 2017, they decided to close that down and turn that entire facility into what is now known as the DreamWorks Theater, where they are showing a major Kung Fu Panda 3D show. And that's where we are right now, is that it is officially the end of Shrek 4D. And for me, I personally think good riddance, because I'm not gonna lie, when I went to Universal Studios and I went to go see Shrek 4D, I'm not gonna say that it's a terrible ride, but it really did feel like something that just overstayed its welcome. Even back when I went to see it, I think it was like a decade ago or something. Like, honestly, the ride for me, it was just meh. Like, if I could go and give my quick review, I will give it that I do like everything before it. You know, like, when you start the lineup, it was actually really cute to see all the little references and the little parodies of posters that are based on Disneyland, where you see, like, Shrekified versions of like classic Disney rides, where you see like the flying donkey, or great moments with Mr. Farquaad, or even the enchanted Tick Room, for example. And then you actually go into the show theater and you see the pre-show, where you're inside this torture room and you see characters that are held up, like the Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, and you see like a little show going on with the gingerbread man and with the magic mirror. So you see all that actually happening, and that was, you know, the whole setup is actually pretty cool. But then you actually go into the theater and you actually see the show, and the best way to describe it is that it's trying to do what Muppet Vision 3D tries to do, but it doesn't do so. It gets too on the nose, like it gets a little too obvious and the jokes don't land well, where it's trying to, like, it has that signature mark of trying to make fun of Disney, but it's, you know, like the jokes just feel stale, and it feels like we've already seen too much of like satirizing Disney and stuff like that, especially like when like we already have the Simpsons ride that they technically do that from time to time, but they do so in a way that feels much better and a lot more effective. So honestly, when it comes to that show in particular, and even the effects outside of the screen itself, a lot of it is just like it really did feel like a watered down version of what you would get like with Terminator 2 3D, or even a bit of a watered down version of what we would have nowadays with Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. So really nowadays it just feels like there's not much of a use to it, especially when we have rides that do the same thing but are better, but especially with the fact that it is Shrek. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. Say what you will about the movies, like you can love them, you can hate them, you can only like some of them or something like that, but honestly, Shrek's time has honestly passed. Like nowadays, even when it comes to like the Shrek memes and stuff like that, they're not really as cool, or they're not as prominent as they used to be. Yeah, there was that period of a few years where we saw Shrek as like the go-to meme, where like Shrek, like the presence of Shrek himself is kind of like a punchline. But nowadays, the relevancy of Shrek kind of disappeared. And I think really the last time people really did talk about Shrek was back in like at the end of 2020, when Shrek was included in the National Film Registry. And that's it. So his time has honestly passed, and he's not as relevant as he used to be. And honestly, I would not be surprised if it's actually because of the memes why Universal actually kept the Shrek 4D ride, because because of the relevancy of Shrek. He's still a popular thing with the cool kids, so they figure they'll just keep that show going around. And I mean, keep in mind that for a ride to stay there for 18 years, especially a Universal ride, like that is legendary. That is a true accomplishment right there. Like in a way, this, and by the way, this might be an extremely hot take that I might say, but what Shrek 4D was to Universal is like what Journey into Imagination with Figment is in Epcot at Walt Disney World. And I don't mean like the classic Journey into Imagination ride. That thing is an immortal classic and easily one of the best attractions Disney has ever had in the leagues of Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion. But what I mean specifically is that when it comes to the ride nowadays, the one where Figment interacts with Eric Idle and talking about the senses and stuff like that, that ride has overstayed its welcome and it desperately needs an update. And I mean, that ride has been going on for like almost 20 years now. I think that ride is actually older than Shrek 4D. Like, it's kind of crazy when you think the modern version of Journey into Imagination with Figment has managed to last much longer than frickin' Shrek 4D. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. And also, one thing that I will say that is a major reason why I really don't care and why I think it's a relief why they got rid of Shrek 4D is honestly because more so than any other ride imaginable, you can watch it wherever you want. And I don't mean just by watching clips on YouTube where like you see someone filming it at Universal Studios and stuff like that. I mean, literally, you could actually go to a store and you can actually buy a copy of Shrek 4D. And technically there are different names that come with it. Technically, it would be called either Shrek 3D if you want to go and buy it as its own DVD that comes with the red and blue glasses, or there would be like, it would be sold as its own short. Like technically the story that they would present in Shrek 4D, it's called The Ghost of Farquaad. And from there, like, not only would you be able to watch it like in Halloween specials, but you would also actually go and see it on Netflix. I think you can actually go on Netflix right now and you can actually check Shrek 4D, but it's just called The Ghost of Farquaad, and all the effects are now 2D. So like right now they're just like the characters are just meaninglessly like just at your face all the time going like bah, 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 bah. It's just so pointless. But yeah, I have never seen an attraction that has been mass marketed to the public where you can actually ride the ride technically, but at home. It's kind of weird that like they would really mass produce this. And I mean, technically this is not the only one. Like I know technically Universal did do the same thing with Back to the Future, the ride, where if you do get the like either the Blu-ray or the DVD trilogy of the whole thing, one of the things that come with it is actually the whole ride of Back to the Future, which that got replaced by the Simpsons ride. So yeah, from there, like with all these factors, it's not that great of an attraction in the first place. The fact that Shrek's relevancy has really died down, and the fact that like you could watch it wherever you want. You could get it on DVD, you could watch it on Netflix, or you could watch it wherever. Like it makes me not really miss Shrek 4D because like, yeah, if I want to watch it, I can watch it wherever I want in a clear vision that is officially released by DreamWorks and Universal. But the question still does remain, however. There is still one massive question. What is going to replace Shrek 4D at Universal Orlando? And there have been tons of speculation. There have been a lot of theories. But honestly, I did think about it myself, and I have two possible ideas of what they could be. Now, keep in mind, by the way, just wanna let you guys know, like this is just a little bit of a warning that when it comes to what I'm about to say here, this is just a theory. This does not mean that this will officially be a thing that will happen. This is just my opinion on what Universal could do. I could totally be wrong. But what I think they're going to do is either one of two things. One, and this is what I think would most likely happen, is that they would take Shrek 4D and would turn it into the Florida version of the DreamWorks Theater. And the reason why I think it's more likely is because the only thing Universal would have to do is just a major retheming. Yeah, they would have to go and like they would go and project a brand new show and add some extra effects and stuff like that, but they don't have to fully switch up the entire building and keep it as a 3D show. they would just have to make it more themed to DreamWorks. And not to mention the fact that they could still keep that DreamWorks representation, that they do have an area where they could say that they do own the characters of DreamWorks, from Madagascar, from Shrek, from How to Train Your Dragon, from Trolls, and so much more. So I think it would most likely be something like that, especially when it's like a lot less cost effective for DreamWorks Animation, especially even if they bring in that Kung Fu Panda show from Universal Studios Hollywood. Again, they don't have to make anything new. They just have to duplicate what they've already done in Universal Studios or Orlando. It would be like a bit of a cheap replacement in a way, or like cheap in the sense that it won't cost them as much as making a brand new ride. Or there is option 2, where if they do make a brand new attraction, I think they would go and include the Secret Life of Pets ride. You probably have heard the ride in Universal Studios Hollywood, The Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash. I think, honestly, in order to have that representation, and in order to have Universal Studios Florida to have a major sector that is completely dedicated to Illumination Entertainment, not just based on Despicable Me, but also have something based on Secret Life of Pets, then honestly, that would give them the golden opportunity to actually go and make a Secret Life of Pets ride, to go and include that one onto Universal Studios Orlando, especially when nowadays Secret Life of Pets is still one of the biggest animated features to date. I know technically the sequel wasn't that big of a box office hit because it made less than half than what the original did, but it still doesn't change the fact that right now The Secret Life of Pets 2 is the most watched animated movie on Netflix right now. So I'm just saying, I feel like those are the two highest probabilities that either Orlando is going to get the DreamWorks Theater or they're going to get the Secret Life of Pets Off the Leash. But overall, though, I will say that this really does feel like a relief. It feels like something that is a long time coming. So honestly, I feel like it is for the best that they do get rid of Shrek 4D and actually replace it with something new, or at the very least, an experience that you won't get on either Netflix or on a DVD that you could buy at the bargain bin at Walmart. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall and I would like to ask you all, what do you all think about Shrek 4D officially coming to a close? What is your opinion on Shrek 4D? And what do you think could actually replace Shrek 4D at Universal Orlando? Let me know what you all think. Okay, let me see what we got here. Let's see. I think it's safe to say that, let's see, maybe not that one, actually. Yeah, okay, here. Oh, no. Oh, no, this is a, oh, wow. No, I've been looking at, sorry, I've just been looking at the comments of the last story. Okay, no, now I'm up to date. Okay, let's see here. I think it's safe to say that it's all ogre now, and am I right? Sorry about that. I like that joke. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be, oh my God. January is going to be, like, I'm sure it's going to be a major event where people will do a soft reboot of the whole Shrek meme at Universal Studios Orlando, where they're all going to say it's all ogre now. Or, you know what? I think Universal is going to put that in their marketing, where they're going to say it's all ogre now at Universal Studios Orlando, or something like that. Just brace yourself for the ogre puns to make a comeback. Anyways, but in all seriousness, to be honest, I kind of miss Shrek 4D. Sure that the relevancy and satire there was outdated, but it was hilarious and fun seeing the characters going on a big adventure and poking fun at Disney. I do wonder if Shrek 4D in Orlando would also be replaced by the DreamWorks Theater as well, or Off the Leash. Even though I can't watch it in America, I could still watch the ride on Netflix. Exactly, even you can have access on it. Let's see now, I honestly like the Shrek 4D attraction in Orlando, so it's a shame to see it's all ogre now. Oh my God. Is everybody in the freaking chat wall gonna write that? Is everybody all gonna say it's all ogre now? Son of a fish, man. Anyways, But it's still not like it's going to be gone for good. I'm still pretty sure that it can be found on DVD. But I will say I'll definitely miss the pre-show. I'd even say it's better than the ride itself, not unlike the Jimmy Fallon ride. But now I gotta wonder what'll replace it. Maybe it'll be a 4D attraction based on B-movie. That'll be worth risking my life flying out to Florida for. Oh my god. That would be insane, but I would not be surprised. But you know what? I actually just thought of this. If Universal is gonna make a ride based on a more meme-worthy DreamWorks movie, frickin' Megamind. Oh my god, a freaking Megamind ride would be insane. I would be so down to see that, though. I know, like, we could make our jokes based on, like, oh, they're gonna make a B-movie ride, or, you know, like, or an El Dorado ride or whatever, but no, freaking, yo, Megamind ride would be legit. I'm just saying. Okay, let's see. Not to mention, like, I'm sure, like, despite what, like, even if they would do, like, a B-movie or a Megamind ride, you know that it's going to be something that DreamWorks would go. Exactly. So, just want to put that out there. Let's see. I definitely do think it is for the best. Shrek 4D honestly did overstay its welcome even after the relevancy of Shrek faded away. I also think what makes it even worse is that you could find it on Netflix. Honestly, I think they just included this as a bonus feature on the DVD or Blu-ray on the movie, and I think it would be okay. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's a cheat, you know, like, I think, you know, the funny thing is that I think it does work better as a cheesy Halloween special, more so than it does a full-on attraction. Because, yeah, I do agree that the pre-show is definitely way better than the ride itself. But in this case here, it's just like, yeah, you know what? If it wants to be a Netflix special, if it wants to be like a little Netflix cartoon, then be a Netflix cartoon. Let's see now. What else do we have here? I did go on the ride during my holiday to Florida in 2014. I'll surely miss it. I could see another DreamWorks theater happening, but I hope it has a new show. Oh yeah, like, I think it definitely will have a new show. But in fact, you know, the funny thing is with the DreamWorks theater, the fact that they would do something like the DreamWorks theater, that would actually give them an excuse to actually bring back Shrek 4D. Like, it could potentially happen that maybe one day Universal could switch things up, that instead of showing that Kung Fu Panda show, they would actually have a few days where they would actually go and show Shrek 4D. I mean, all they have to do is just switch the movie itself, and it's not like anything would legitimately change within, like, the environment, because it would make sense to show Shrek 4D at the DreamWorks theater. So if it would be the case that maybe Orlando would also have a DreamWorks theater, then maybe that would mean that it's not necessarily the end of Shrek 4D. I'm just saying. What else do we have? What other comments? I have only seen the short film of the Shrek 4D ride in physical home media, but have not seen it over at Universal Studios Orlando, despite being there once as a kid. I get why Universal is closing it down due to the relevancy and how dated it was. I still enjoy the Shrek franchise, and even seeing the first movie in theaters for the first time back in April in Concord, but it is sad to see that they are closing it. Hopefully it goes out with a bang. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that, like, maybe at the most, if you have seen it at home and you have your 3D glasses, you're not really missing out much. Maybe what you're missing is, like, the seats that are moving just a little bit, and maybe that one little effect where you see the mock Tinkerbell shoot out of a frog and, like, land on the exit sign. And that's pretty much it. Let's see. I'll read one more comment before we go into our final story. I think this was quite about time. Shrek is not great in marketing anymore. Back in my childhood days when I was born in 2002, Shrek was all over the place for a long time. I remember my experience for the first time of the ride. I missed the experience I got back there in 6-year-old me, but it is inevitable nowadays. Exactly. It's pretty much inevitable that this Shrek ride would go away sometime soon, but let's just hope that for what will replace Shrek 4D, it will definitely be something a lot more worthwhile, and hopefully something that will be more relevant. Like, this is not a diss against Shrek, but I'm just saying, like, give us something better, you know? All right, folks, it is now time for the grand finale. Yes, and for this grand finale, what I got here is going to be an interesting discussion. This is actually going to be about the future of Disney, and it is all based on an article that I honestly find to be very fascinating. In fact, if there would be one homework that I would like you guys to do, is actually to go and read this article here, in which it is actually called Bob Iger's Long Goodbye. It is an article that you could find on The Hollywood Reporter, written by Kim Masters. And the reason why I am bringing this one up is mainly because of the fact that it highlights the very complicated relationship between Bob Iger and the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Chapek. Now, the way that it does start things off with this article, and by the way, I will do the best that I can in order to make a long story short to summarize what they would go and talk about right over here, is the fact that in here, they would actually discuss about something that did happen recently, back in June, at the Aulani Resort, where it was one of the final moments where Bob Iger would go and lead the speech and would discuss with a bunch of executives regarding how things are going with the Walt Disney Company. And Bob Iger sent his parting message. He talked about one more thing to say before he would leave the Walt Disney Company. And what he decided to say is to value creativity over data. And I'll go and read from my source here from The Hollywood Reporter, as he says, in a world and business that is awash with data, it is tempting to use data to answer all of our questions, including creative questions. I urge you not to do that. If Disney had relied too heavily on data, the company might never have made big breakthrough movies like Black Panther, Coco, and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So basically what Bob Iger is saying here is that the data is kind of racist, so don't rely on that. But in all seriousness, though, apparently a lot of people actually interpreted that as an indirect jab to Bob Chapek. And the reason why is actually because throughout Bob Chapek's career, believe it or not, never once did he actually work in the creative side. Like, he was purely 100% a businessman. Even though he has been a 28-year veteran at the Walt Disney Company, all he has done is nothing but business. Even when he was leading the home entertainment division, when he was in charge of consumer products, and when he was leading and being the chairman of Disney Parks and Resorts, he was only focusing on the business side of things. Never once did he legitimately touch the creative aspect. In fact, this article actually does highlight that the only reason why Bob Iger actually stayed, well, not the only reason, but a major factor as to why Bob Iger stayed with the Walt Disney Company is not only because of the pandemic, but it was to also mentor Bob Chapek in order to be a proper CEO of the Walt Disney Company, as well as being in charge of the creative aspect. Because you know dang well Bob Chapek ain't gonna do much with that factor. He can't just jump in as the CEO and run things as he would usually do. He has to understand what the creative aspect entails, especially for the company, especially for a company like the Walt Disney Company, where the creativity aspect is the core of it all. Like, Disney is purely fueled by creativity, regardless if it's either from their movies, their TV shows, their animations, from Marvel, from Star Wars, or whatever. Creativity is the key to Disney. But even at that, though, apparently when Bob Chapek immediately became a CEO, drastic changes has already happened, especially in terms of the leadership and who's in charge of what. And Chapek did not waste any time to make sure that when he stepped in, he wanted to make sure that it's not like Iger's influences would not be in the way of his decisions. There's even a passage where they even mention here, but even Iger lingered. Chapek moved quickly to seize control, reorganizing the company in a way that diminishes the power of some key Iger lieutenants as others have exited. Even creative person is leaving or losing power, laments one of the former high-level Disney execs. And even in terms of the creative aspects, this does highlight some of the missteps that Bob Chapek has already done, in which already the relationship between the creatives at Disney and with Bob Chapek has already very much soured. Like, one great example is regarding with Pixar, with the decision of moving movies such as Soul and with Luca and putting that exclusively onto Disney Plus, not even putting premium access or anything like that, and not even giving them a chance to be on the big screen. Both Pete Docter and the animators who worked at Pixar, like, they actually did open up, or reports have stated that they were relatively upset about that decision, where they lost the opportunity to have those movies be experienced on the big screen. Like, maybe there are a few festivals nowadays that are doing that, but in terms of like releasing it worldwide during their regular releases, yeah, it's for sure that they would no longer happen. And already, like I said before, that relationship with the creatives at Pixar, especially with Pete Docter and with Bob Chapek, like, that aspect, like, there's already some stitches that need to be sued. And speaking of sued, actually, another example that this does highlight is regarding the decision of Black Widow, of putting that both on the big screen and on Disney Plus with premium access, that ultimately led to a massive lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson that just recently finished. The company and ScarJo, like, they made amends. They're both good friends again, but still, though, it shows the kind of business decisions that Bob Chapek has done, and how he's leading to Disney is already off to a pretty bad start in a way. However, this is just to highlight that, I just want to mention that this is not all to slander Bob Chapek. This is not all to say that Bob Chapek is bad and that everyone at Disney, including the board of directors and even Bob Iger himself, hates him. Like I said, it is complicated, the relationship between Iger and Chapek. And even though, he does have his doubts in terms of Chapek's creative leadership, he still has faith that he could be still a good CEO. You know, he still has a lot of promise. In fact, this article does actually conclude that Bob Chapek would say that he's very different from me. That doesn't mean he can't do the job well. Give him time. It is the only fair thing to do. And it does highlight one major aspect about Bob Chapek is that he is technically leading the company during one of the darkest times in modern history, during the pandemic. Like, yeah, he is off to an extremely rough start with the company, but not all of it is his fault. A major factor is, of course, because of the pandemic. And also on the side, there have been some highlights as well that do mention that Bob Chapek does have his supporters amongst the Walt Disney Company, even some powerful creatives as well. One example is the CEO of Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, who has often done some major deals with ESPN regarding UFC fights and stuff like that. To which he has stated, Bob has steered Disney through one of the most challenging times anyone in our business could go through, and he did it without losing sight of their longtime objectives. Despite complaints from his competitors at CAA, our clients have a great relationship with Disney, as the studio has quickly demonstrated to us how the creative community can share its success of new platforms like Disney Plus. But if that doesn't convince you, there is actually one more person who is actually a strong supporter of Bob Chapek, and is actually a very prominent name and one of the biggest creative heads in the industry right now, and it's none other than Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Studios. He actually stated that I think he is a creative guy, a nice guy, a real guy. He even adds that Bob Chapek offers just enough of an opinion to give good feedback on early cuts of movies and shows. So even Kevin Feige right now does have full confidence and trust on Bob Chapek to lead the whole thing, to go and lead the Walt Disney Company. So again, that's just like a short summary. I don't know if I have done justice on this article. Again, I highly do recommend that you go and actually read this article yourself to get a really good understanding of what is currently the status of the Walt Disney Company and the relationship between Bob Iger and with Bob Chapek, and how things that they are and the things that they do highlight. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it does seem very concerning. Like, I think that's how everyone is feeling right now. Like, whether it be the employees at Disney, the top executives, or even just the Disney fans, right now things seem to feel pretty iffy with how things are with Bob Chapek, especially when it comes to bringing someone whose only background is business to go and lead with what is essentially a creative-led company. So in terms of that factor, it is honestly a bit complicated and worrisome to know what would be the future, because the biggest nightmare would actually be that Bob Chapek would turn Disney into a data-driven studio. That it would be that the company would be led not by creativity, but by statistics, by numbers, by data, that they would mainly rely on that in order to create their next movies, their next TV shows, their next theme park rides, and all that kind of stuff. And even nowadays, as Bob Chapek would climb up the ladder, we have been seeing a bit of that creativity be sucked away a little bit. That, like, even though there have been some, like, of course, there have been some great things that have been coming in recent years, in terms of some content that have actually been original or anything that is considered new from Disney, it's been a while since we've had that, regardless if it would be a lot of their movies, especially their live action films, or especially from their theme park rides. Like, yeah, especially like the leadership of both Iger and Chapek, we see the creativity that has slowly been draining. But it still raises the question, though, if things are very complicated right now with Bob Chapek, why is he selected as the CEO of the Walt Disney Company? Well, to go and answer that question, the article actually does get down to that. And the big reason is because, well, he's the best that Disney has right now. Sure, there are possibly there are a lot of other candidates that would do a much better job to go and lead the Walt Disney Company, but it's just Bob Chapek is the best person that they could work with right now. They don't necessarily have any other options. The other options that they do have, they either did not last long at the Walt Disney Company, or they don't necessarily have the executive experience as much as Bob Chapek does. So it is essentially the Walt Disney Company just working with what they got. And Bob Chapek has he pretty much has the most experience and is not that likely to just immediately quit the Walt Disney Company. And he would seem to be the guy that would most likely seem logical to be in charge of Disney. And even though I will say, like, I know a lot of people are not huge fans of Bob Iger either. And they would say, and like a lot of people would even criticize him by saying that he's also another executive that feels like that he values data and statistics and numbers over creativity. But then again, I will say that even though, yeah, there are some things that I definitely do disagree in terms of the decisions made by Bob Iger, he's not that bad of an executive. In fact, he really did help Disney a lot to get back up on its feet and then some, and even was in charge. Like, he even did help a lot in terms of the creative aspects to really pick Disney up. Like, probably one of the best examples is in regards to help reboot Disney animation, both for Disney and even, well, maybe not Pixar, but especially for Disney animation. Like, it really is with the help of Bob Iger's leadership that he helped reboot the animation studio to really go back into its former glory and bring us movies such as Zootopia, Frozen, Moana, Big Hero 6, Wreck-It Ralph, Tangled, and many others as well. Even nowadays with Raya and the Last Dragon, and then coming soon with Encanto. And then there's also the big reboot of Disney California Adventure. That used to be considered a major joke in terms of the theme park community, but he actually helped reboot it to become a legitimate attraction. And this is not to mention as well that, you know, for a fact, like, even though he might not be the one who started it, but he did play a very significant role in shaping the Marvel Cinematic Universe into how it is right now. So yeah, Bob Iger is not necessarily that great of a CEO for Disney, but he definitely helped things out to make Disney better and to help pick itself up after a very dark time. And overall, I think Bob Chapek definitely is a better executive than the second half of Michael Eisner's time at Disney. So from there, like, going back into the discussion about Bob Iger and with Bob Chapek, honestly, I think Bob Iger might be right, where the best thing we can do is just ultimately to wait and see. And yeah, like, in terms of what's happening right now with Bob Chapek, he doesn't necessarily have a good look, and he doesn't necessarily have a good PR relationship, a good PR with well, I can't really say a good PR relationship with the public, because PR technically stands for public relations. So, like, he doesn't necessarily have a good PR right now. Like, his image as a Disney CEO is not that positive, but ultimately we will have to wait and see, because, well, right now he's the best that Disney has right now, and the true test will come starting in 2022 when Bob Iger officially leaves, when he no longer has that control in the creative aspect of the company, and see how Bob Iger see how Bob Chapek is going to do when he's going to be fully in charge of Disney and going to be leading as a CEO. Will it be the case that maybe Bob Chapek is going to turn Disney into a database company, or will he actually take creativity more seriously, and we could actually see more original stuff coming out of either like the Disney parks or Disney animated films, or even with stuff like with Marvel, with Lucasfilms and stuff like that? It's ultimately something that we will have to wait and see. It is absolutely concerning. I definitely do agree on that, but it is kind of an interesting look to see the future of the Walt Disney Company and how things are going to be with the new CEO. Yes, a lot of it might not sound that interesting to you because it's a lot more about the business than the creative aspect side of things, but you got to keep in mind, this is going to be responsible for that creative side. That's why it is important to pay attention to what Bob Chapek could be doing, because he is definitely going to be shaping the future of Disney and how things are going to be managed and how things are going to be moving forward and how your favorite properties might actually be affected. Like, yes, even the MCU and Star Wars are going to be affected and will be in the hands of Bob Chapek to shape its future. So even though, like, yeah, there are some things that are absolutely concerning, but ultimately we will have to wait and see with how things go as him, with him as the CEO. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you think about this article right over here? If you have read the article, what are your thoughts on this? And especially, how do you feel about Bob Chapek as a CEO? Do you trust the guy that he could probably do good for the Walt Disney Company? Are you a little bit worried that he might go a little bit too much into the business and not enough on the creative side? Let me know what you all think. Okay. So I was born in 1995. I've only known Michael Eisner and Bob Iger. I can only imagine how the people who grew up in the Renaissance and Dark Ages felt about the switch from Eisner and Iger. I'll be honest, even with Chapek's leadership, I am surprised by the amount of original animated films coming out in the 2020s from Disney and Pixar. However, I still feel uncertain with Chapek. In some ways, the 2020s will be an interesting time with a new generation of creatives and clashing with the old ways. Oh yeah, especially nowadays. I mean, like Bob Chapek, like I could guarantee you that Bob Chapek is running a company that is completely different than what Bob Iger had when he came in. Especially now that there is going to be much more of a significant importance to Disney Plus as a streaming service. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how creatives and business are going to be collaborating or how they might end up clashing, especially with someone like Bob Chapek, who seems like he might lean a little bit more on the business side of things. All right. What else do we have here? I can definitely understand where this article is coming from. I think the biggest issue with Bob Chapek really has more controversial decisions for being the CEO of Disney. Honestly, at least with Iger, he did help bring back Disney to become bigger and better than ever, on top of purchases like Marvel, Star Wars, and Fox. Also, I would also put some blame on Bob Chapek as the CEO on the pandemic and how it really screwed up Disney. Wait, you might need to rephrase that, because you're not implying that Bob Chapek is responsible for the pandemic. Yes, like Bob Chapek is the one who caused the coronavirus. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, no, I think that's a bit. Yeah, like I know not a lot of people are fans about. Not a lot of people are fans of Bob Chapek, but we could be spreading those kinds of conspiracy theories. No, but in all seriousness, though, like yes, I do understand. Like some of the the pandemic can be blamed by Disney being badly damaged and how things are with the company. But yeah, that doesn't mean Bob Chapek shouldn't be off the hook with how things are being managed at Disney. That is definitely true there. Let's see, what else do we have here? Disney is sadly going haywire. Ever since Eisner was kicked out, it is highly unlikely that Abigail Disney would take the reins of the company her family created. Also, a few stories that you understandably have skipped are the Hollywood workers' strike that heavily impacted movie productions and the death of Koichi Sugiyama, the main composer of the Dragon Quest series. Yeah, I know. I mean, like there's been a lot of stuff that did happen, and I can't really highlight all of them. And especially, like, I know the big strike, I need some time in order to properly research it, to like really fully understand what is going on with there. But I know that it is a massive big deal, and it is going to definitely affect the future productions of what will be to come. So I am aware of that. Let's see, what else do we have here? What other comments? The way I see Bob Chapek handling the Walt Disney Company is not good, in my opinion. His decision brings nothing but controversial things such as the Premier Access, Scarlett Johansson lawsuit, and a few others. I don't know if he'll bring the company down more and cause massive talents in Hollywood to not work with Disney, but so far, I don't trust him. All right, well, honestly, I don't really blame you right there. And you know what? I think I'm going to read one more comment and then we'll cap this off. It is really sad how some CEOs mishandled the company of Walt Disney. I understand it's not easy to run a company, especially as big as Disney, and even Walt himself had his issues, like underplaying his animators and how picky he was on adapting stories, but he always put creativity and innovation first over profit. He even once said that he didn't want to sell Mickey because he's family. By the way, AniMat, in your opinion, who do you think was the best CEO of Disney during its entire lifetime? During its entire lifetime? I mean, that is a very good question. Well, I mean, I think the best one, the best is undeniably Walt Disney. Like, Walt Disney is definitely at the top, like definitely number one, no denying right there. Even though like he's not a perfect CEO, but I mean, there is yet to be someone to fully like outmatch like what Walt Disney has done, especially like not just with the creation of like Mickey Mouse, with Snow White, with Disneyland, with Mary Poppins, and so much more. I mean, he's the guy who built the empire, and the foundation that he has built is a masterpiece right there. But if not Walt Disney, then I would honestly say the first half of Michael Eisner. Like going from, like I would say from when he started in 1984 or 1985 up to the release of The Lion King, what Michael Eisner did was pure genius. Like he managed to pick Disney, up during their worst times. Like when they when Disney was the closest to fully shutting down, Michael Eisner came in and completely changed the entire scene to build Disney, to pick themselves back up its feet, and to make Disney a good household name once again. It's too bad that afterwards, he went off the rails and went completely insane with some of the decisions he has done. Like a few good marks here and there, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Pirates of the Caribbean. But other than that, though, it sucks that the second half was disastrous, but the first half, he definitely did an amazing job. And with all that said, that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and what a wild ride it has been. Thank you so much for joining me on this, folks. It has definitely been an amazing time, and I'm glad that this one went so much better than the last episode. So that is great to see, and I hope this will continue onward for the rest of this entire podcast. So let me just say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes.